Hi folks, this is Sonia with 2x2 Farms and 2x2 Lagotto, and I've got Gracie here. She's a brown roan female that is about 4.5 months old, and she's had her first puppy cut. I'm going to demonstrate her second puppy cut. The first thing you want to do is clean any debris out of their fur, any mud, because they're Lagotto, any knots that they might have. Get all that cleaned out. Hey Gracie, you're a good girl. Yeah, settle. So we'll get all that brushed out. Ideally, they've had a bath and their fur is dry. So what you're about to do won't dull your blades. There is such a thing as a wet groom, but I'm not going to demonstrate that today. A lot of times the places where they get debris and knots are around their elbows, in their armpits, along their jawline, on their chest, around their ears, and sometimes around their tail set. So when you get all of those mats out, all of that debris, so you're not junking up your clippers. And what I'm using is just a small bristle brush. You've got a couple different sizes. You can also use a pin brush. Hey, settle. And just go over her again, making sure there's nothing left. This is a good thing to do when you're sitting watching TV at night, is to check for mats. Check for debris, pick up their feet and look in between their toes, check their toenails, check their ears. We'll trim that ear hair up too. I'll show you how to do that. Check their eyes. Sometimes the corner of their eyes can get debris in it, and they don't have fingers and a Kleenex to get that out. So just very gently, you can use your wire slicker brush. I don't know what I called it a minute ago, but it's a slicker brush. And you can see she just doesn't mind. And this should be fun for puppies. You shouldn't be stressing puppies out. You shouldn't be holding them down to do this. Just kind of give them free space, free reign to explore and move around. Alright, next we're going to use, I use the Andis Super 2-speed. I've got a 7 finish cut blade on this right now. And I start up here at the nape of the neck and just make one long racing stripe. You can't see this side, but I'll show you. I'm just going with the coat, and yes, you're shaving this down. This is not an adult cut, this is a puppy cut. This encourages their coat to grow in that nice Lagotto curly fashion. You can see how her coat is coming into that nice curly coat. None of our dogs have the straight furnishings or the straight coat gene, so they all have this nice curl to it. It's a nice overcast, windy, pretty fair day, so this is a nice time to do this. Always trying to go with the growth of the hair, with the grain of growth. And breeders in your area will call this different things. Sometimes they'll call it a shave down. Sometimes it's called a puppy cut. Sometimes it's called a first cut. Regionally, they call them different things. But what you need to explain to your groomer is the puppy is shaved down using a 7 finish cut blade. Now, if you want it a little longer than this, you can put a comb, excuse me, you can put a comb on the end of your blade. But for our puppy cut purposes today, we are just doing the shave down. And this is literally the second time she's ever had this done. Hey girl, let's turn forward. There's a video on YouTube of somebody doing a puppy cut, and they're plucking hair from the puppy's ears, which is just brutal and cruel. I would liken it to torture. It's just torturous. You need to mark your charts. Everybody who handles your dog needs to know, hold still, needs to know to never pluck your hair. The first thing that it does is causes severe pain, and you can see in that video the puppy is wincing and yelping and just in general in pain. And it's standard practice for a lot of groomers and breeders and veterinarians to pluck the ear hair. But as I was saying, so the first thing it does is cause pain. The second thing it does is causes the inflammation in the ear canal. The hair is in there to protect the ear, and it can get matted sometimes, and it can get wet and kind of gunky. But if you're feeding a good national diet, nationally prepared diet, you shouldn't have a whole lot of issues with health. But also, you know, those ears can be cleaned out with some apple cider vinegar and a damp washcloth. You don't want to put Q-tips or anything like that. As you can see, I'm shaving right up to the base of the skull. I'm kind of explaining as I go back to the ears. So the inflammation causes the pH to change in the ear, and with that allows bacteria and such to start growing, fungus, yeast, and then you begin the oh so terrible cycle of antibiotics and steroids, and it's just a never-ending battle. I have 2 that were inadvertently plucked on the show circuit, and they have ear infections a couple of times a year now with the season change. So you can see I'm right here on this thigh, I'm shaving it down about to the knee where the knee bends. On the front legs, I shaved down just past the shoulder, almost to the elbow. And I'll show you what we'll do with that here in a minute. Voila! We have our body shaved down now. And now I'm going to show you what to do with the tail. The tail is supposed to be, the tail is supposed to be carrot style. So that means wider at the base and thinner at the tip. Let's turn around so people can see. All right. So all these feathers need to come off. Just kind of cut it in a nice rounded tip. Get all these feathers off. And their peri area, just keep that short. They don't mind being trimmed back there. It just stays cleaner. It's a little bit harder to do with an older puppy because they're wiggly. But you can see I'm getting all these feathers off. Doesn't have to be perfect. Your groomer, if you're using a professional groomer, they'll have it all nice and neat. But if you're doing this at home, you know, just know that if you mess up, it's going to grow back in 3 or 4 weeks. So there's our nice little carrot tail without all the feathers. Next, I'm going to trim up these legs. If you want to walk around the front. So I've brushed it, kind of back brushed it, and the legs are supposed to be nice columns. And again, she's a wiggly puppy. I'm not trying to get it perfect. Nope. We're having a good time. She's having a good time. Clearly she's not stressed. She's pulling a little bit, but that's okay. If I'm being really lazy, you can just shave the legs down too. But I'm showing you what is expected in an official capacity for a puppy cut. Oop, hold still. Good girl. Good. So you've got nice little columns there on the front legs. And then the back legs, same thing. You're back brushing. And they're supposed to be nice little columns. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do this yourself. You know, if you invest $100 in this equipment, you know, you need some scissors. Nice, well, they don't have to be expensive, but, you know, definitely for hair. And your clippers and your blade, you know, that's about $80 right there. 15 or 20 for these. You'll already have slicker brush, a pen brush, and nail trimmers. It's also a nice thing to have are these blunt scissors so that you can cut this hair, and you're just cutting it level with the ear. Sometimes you need to use some that have a point on them because they're a little bit sharper. And you want to make sure there's no dirt, that there's no matting. Sometimes they can get a little matted in there, and you just very gently, hold still, very gently take your slicker brush and brush the inside of the canal so all of those mats are out. She had the start of a mat. And you just trim that so that it's level. You can even use your fingers and she'll cooperate as a guide. No, hold still. So there we go. Her head has really already been trimmed because her first puppy cut, we did a complete shave down, and that was 4 weeks ago, so you can see the growth that we already have. Let me get some more of this debris out. I don't know what you do, puppy. You were clean the other day. So on these ears, you can hold them up and get all this extra fringe off. You know, use your thumb as a guide so you're not chopping off ear parts. Hold still. And she's pulling on me, I'm not pulling on her. Whoop, come here. And this is about the length that you want it. Maybe a little too long, actually. Definitely too long for... Is that tickling? Definitely too long for my taste, but I'm demonstrating again the puppy cut. And this ear should fit nicely to the side of her head. So I'm going to cut some of this off. Hey. So, there you have it. Your legs are nice and columnar. Your ears fit nicely into the side of the cheek. Your tail is a carrot. And your body is shaved down. Her next cut here in about 4 to 6 weeks will be an actual adult cut, and we'll make a video demonstrating that too. Thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions. 2x2lagotto.com. Thanks!